The persistent sound of the phone cut through the silence of the night. Gabriel, still groggy from sleep, reached out to answer. On the other end of the line, his superior's urgent voice made it clear that there was no time to lose. An 8-year-old girl, Sophia, had gotten lost in the mountains during a hike with her parents. The weather conditions were rapidly deteriorating, and her life was in danger. Gabriel, with years of experience as a rescue dog trainer, knew that missions like this were always a race against time. He glanced at Thor, his loyal 5-year-old companion, a Belgian Malinois with sharp eyes and an always alert posture. Thor was watching him as if he already knew that he was about to spring into action. "It's another one, boy," Gabriel murmured as he got dressed for the cold. Thor was already on his feet, wagging his tail and ready to follow his owner. The search area was treacherous. Mountain trails covered in snow, dense trees, and, that night, a blizzard that was growing stronger. Gabriel and Thor were the parents' hope, who waited anxiously for news about their daughter. The rest of the rescue team was on the way, but Gabriel knew that Thor would be essential in finding the girl, especially in such adverse conditions. As they drove toward the mountains, Gabriel couldn't shake off the growing anxiety. The combination of heavy snow and difficult terrain would make the search slow and exhausting. He wondered if they would make it in time. Thor's gaze, however, reassured him. The dog, with his impeccable training and sharp instincts, had saved many lives before. If anyone could find Sophia, it was him. When they arrived at the base of operations, the rescue team was already assembled. Gabriel checked Thor's gear one last time as one of the team leaders explained the likely route Sophia had taken before she got lost. Time was against them, and every minute counted. "Let's go, Thor," Gabriel said firmly, as he placed the rescue collar on the dog. Thor, ready for the mission, took the first step into the darkness and cold of the mountain, with Gabriel following close behind. The biting wind from the mountain made every step feel like a battle. Thor moved ahead, his nose close to the ground, sniffing the snow-covered terrain. Gabriel followed closely, his eyes scanning the horizon, alert for any sign of Sophia. The blizzard was making visibility difficult, and everything around them seemed like a vast white expanse, where time and space blurred together. Thor remained focused, unaffected by the adverse conditions. His sharp instincts, honed by years of training, guided him with precision. The dog knew he was on a mission. Gabriel felt his confidence growing as he watched his companion move forward with determination. Thor had always been his anchor in moments like this. The trail was beginning to disappear under the thick snow, making it harder to follow. The rescue team had warned them about the danger of avalanches, and Gabriel knew that any wrong move could put both him and Thor in a critical situation. But despite this, they needed to keep going. "We're getting closer, boy," Gabriel whispered, though even he wasn't sure if he was trying to reassure Thor or himself. Thor, without looking back, quickened his pace. Every now and then, Gabriel would stop to check the radio. The rest of the team was spread out further south, but no one had any sign of the girl. Time was running out, and Gabriel knew that Sophia, exposed to those conditions for so long, might not survive much longer. The cold was becoming more relentless, and the icy wind howled through the trees. Gabriel pulled his hat down to cover his ears better, but there was no escaping the freezing sensation that gripped his body. Still, he couldn't stop, not while Thor was so focused. Amid the blizzard, Gabriel found himself reflecting on the past, recalling other missions. Thor had been trained since he was a puppy, and together they had faced situations as difficult as this one. He remembered a mission years ago, where a group of climbers had been trapped in a crevasse. It was Thor who, against all odds, found the path that led to the rescue. Since then, the dog had never failed once. But now, time was their greatest enemy. Suddenly, Thor stopped abruptly, lifting his head. His ears perked up, his body tense and alert. Gabriel froze as he saw the dog's behavior. Something was different. Thor sniffed the air again and veered off in a new direction, leaving the main trail and heading into a denser area of the forest. Gabriel hesitated for a moment, looking at the path they were leaving behind, but he knew Thor wouldn't lead him somewhere without reason. He trusted his partner implicitly, so he followed Thor through the dark, twisted trees. The search was about to intensify. As they moved deeper into the forest, the blizzard seemed to gain strength, making each step even harder. The wind howled, throwing snow into their faces, obscuring their vision. Gabriel felt the weight of the mission growing with each passing minute, and although he fully trusted Thor, fear began to creep into his thoughts. The cold, the snow, the time, each obstacle seemed insurmountable. Thor kept sniffing the ground, tireless despite the conditions. To him, the focus was on finding Sophia, and nothing else mattered. But Gabriel, following closely behind, couldn't shake the doubts that were starting to form in his mind. He had seen missions go wrong before, and he always wondered if he had done enough to prevent the worst outcomes. He remembered a mission months ago where a young couple had gotten lost during a climb. Although they were found, it was too late for one of them. The sense of failure still haunted him, and the thought that something like that could happen to Sophia made his heart race. The blizzard continued to batter the mountain, and Gabriel knew their chances were dwindling. Every hour that passed made Sophia more vulnerable to the extreme cold. The image of her alone in the snow filled his mind, increasing the pressure. Thor needed to find a lead quickly, or suddenly. Thor lifted his nose, sniffing the air more intensely. His movements indicated that something had changed. He ran a few meters ahead and began digging with his paws, furiously clearing the snow. Gabriel hurried to catch up. When he reached Thor's side, Gabriel saw what the dog had found. On the ground, partially buried in the snow, was a small piece of clothing, a pink hat. The same hat Sophia's parents had described when they reported her disappearance. Gabriel picked up the hat, his frozen fingers feeling the wet, cold fabric. Thor looked at him, eyes full of expectation. It was their first concrete clue, a sign that they were on the right path. But the relief was quickly replaced by a new wave of urgency. If Sophia had lost her hat there, it meant she was even more exposed to the cold. "Good boy," Gabriel murmured to Thor, trying to control his growing anxiety. Time was running out. Thor, sensing the gravity of the moment, resumed the search with even more determination. Gabriel followed, heart pounding, hoping the next clue would lead them directly to Sophia. The cutting wind and accumulated snow made progress difficult, but Thor kept moving forward, more focused than ever. Now, Gabriel knew they were close. The discovery of the hat had given new direction to the search, and Thor's behavior indicated he was picking up Sophia's trail more strongly. The dense forest began to open up, revealing a small snow-covered clearing. Gabriel felt a chill down his spine when he saw the unstable terrain. He knew they were in an area prone to avalanches. Every step needed to be carefully calculated. He paused for a moment, weighing the next move, but Thor, with his sharp instincts, was already sniffing the air with urgency. Then it happened. Before we continue with this exciting story, make sure you are already subscribed to the channel and leave a like on this video to always stay up to date with new content. At the edge of the clearing, partially covered by snow and curled up next to a tree, Gabriel spotted a small figure. Sophia was there, motionless, her small arms wrapped around her legs, trying to shield herself from the cold. She seemed to be on the verge of unconsciousness. "Sophia!" Gabriel shouted, running toward her. Thor was already by the girl's side, licking her face gently, trying to wake her up. Gabriel knelt beside the child, checking her breathing. She was alive, but extremely weak and freezing. "You'll be okay. We're getting you out of here," he murmured as he wrapped Sophia in a thermal blanket from his backpack. She opened her eyes for a moment, muttering something inaudible, before closing them again, exhausted. With Sophia in his arms, Gabriel looked around, searching for the safest path out of the clearing. But before he could make a move, a rumbling sound echoed through the mountains. the unmistakable sound of an avalanche. The snow began to shift in a white wave descending from the slopes. Thor, sensing the danger before Gabriel even realized, started running toward an escape route. Gabriel, holding Sophia tightly, followed the dog as fast as he could. As the avalanche drew closer, the ground trembled beneath their feet, and every step felt like a monumental effort. The thick snow made running difficult, but Thor was ahead, digging a path through the snow with relentless determination. Gabriel knew he didn't have much time. If the avalanche caught them, they would be buried alive. Thor abruptly stopped in an area of rocks partially covered in snow, furiously digging. Gabriel caught up to the dog and realized Thor was creating a small passage under a rock, where they could temporarily shelter. "Good boy," Gabriel praised Thor as he and Sophia crouched under the rock. Thor followed quickly, pressing himself against Gabriel's body. The avalanche roared around them, and for a few moments it felt like the whole world was collapsing. When the avalanche finally passed, everything fell silent. The snow had blocked the trail back, and they were isolated. Sophia was still unconscious in Gabriel's arms, and the cold was unforgiving. "We need to get out of here," Gabriel whispered to Thor. The dog, still alert, stood up and began digging again, trying to find a way out through the piled snow. He wouldn't stop until he found a path. Thor dug tirelessly, his paws moving quickly and precisely as he carved a path through the dense snow. Gabriel felt every muscle in his body ache from the effort of carrying Sophia, but he knew there was no time to waste. The cold was merciless, and the girl needed urgent medical attention. Thor, as always, led the way with a determination that Gabriel had only seen in the bravest of dogs. The snow around them was so high that at times, Gabriel couldn't see the horizon, only the trail Thor was clearing with his paws. He shouted into the radio, hoping to reach the rescue team, but static was the only response. They were alone. After a few more minutes of digging, Thor found an opening out of the accumulated snow. The terrain was firmer, still covered in snow, but it gave Gabriel the sense that they were finally making progress. The dog stopped for a moment, turning back to Gabriel as if to signal that it was safe to continue. "Come on, Sophia. Just a little more," Gabriel whispered, holding the girl more tightly. With Thor leading, they moved toward the designated meeting point with the rescue team. The feeling of isolation began to fade when Gabriel spotted the distant glow of lanterns on the horizon. The other team members had managed to push forward and were getting closer. Finally, when they reached the team, Gabriel dropped to his knees, exhausted but relieved. Sophia was quickly taken by paramedics, while Thor stood next to Gabriel, watching the scene with his sharp, loyal eyes. "You did it, boy," Gabriel said, stroking Thor's head. The dog, panting heavily, remained calm, as if he knew his mission was complete. Sophia was safe, and Thor had once again been the hero of the day. News of the successful rescue spread quickly throughout the town. Thor, the rescue dog who braved extreme conditions to save Sophia, was hailed as a hero. Local headlines highlighted his bravery and Gabriel's dedication, who had fully trusted the dog's instincts. A few days later, a ceremony was held to honor the rescue team, and Thor was the center of attention. Gabriel watched proudly as the town's children gathered around the dog, petting him and offering him treats. Thor, always calm and focused, seemed to enjoy the affection, but his watchful gaze remained the same. While everyone celebrated the success of the mission, Gabriel reflected on what had happened. He knew that without Thor, things could have ended very differently. The bond he had with his dog went beyond work. It was a connection of absolute trust. Thor wasn't just a rescue partner. He was the reason lives were saved. At the end of the ceremony, Thor was awarded a Medal of Honor. Smiling, Gabriel placed it around the dog's neck and whispered, "You deserve this, boy, more than anyone." Thor shook his head as if he understood the significance of the moment before lying down at Gabriel's feet, as loyal as ever. Months after the rescue, Sophia and her family visited Gabriel and Thor to thank them in person. The girl, now fully recovered, brought a special gift: a leather collar with Thor's name engraved, a small token of gratitude for saving her life. Sophia approached Thor, kneeling before him. "Thank you for finding me," she said softly, stroking the dog's head. Thor wagged his tail and licked the girl's hand, as if recognizing the moment. Gabriel, watching from a distance, felt a wave of emotion. The impact of that mission would not be forgotten anytime soon. That afternoon, Gabriel, Thor, and Sophia spent hours together, walking through a nearby field. The snow had melted, and the sun shone softly, illuminating the horizon. Gabriel knew that more missions would come, and that he and Thor would be ready when they were called again. But at that moment, peace and tranquility were all they needed. Thanks for watching until the end. What did you think of today's story? Leave your opinion in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Until next time.